Hey, what's up everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. Alright, so I'm sitting up here struggling with Apple Music app as usual, trying to make a playlist, trying to add music. Of course, it's not cooperating as usual. Y'all know how that go. But I forgot to make a video on Kai Jones of the Charlotte Hornets. And Charlotte Hornets have a lot of talent, man. Right now, they are a very loaded basketball team in the Eastern Conference. And he is one of the young upside power forward center combination dudes that can catch a lot of lobs, fly all over the place. I'm not really sure what he has all in his bag from the perimeter and things like that. I'm not aware because I just haven't seen him, but he's always been a player that comes to mind immediately when I think of the upside of the Charlotte Hornets. They've drafted so very well this past draft here when they got Smith, picked up Bailey. Obviously, they picked up Miller. So this is a team that's also adding Bridges back to the fold after a year off and some stuff going on in his personal life. He was able to come back to the game. I think he's only going to be suspended for like a couple of games, and he'll be back in here for the start of the season. Obviously LaMelo Ball coming back from the injury of the ankle. James Bouknight, a player with some high-level talent as well. Nick Richards is on this team as well, a guy who had a nice breakout last year. They brought back PJ Washington last week as well. So this is one of the more deep teams in all of basketball, if you ask me, as we speak. They are literally maybe the fourth or fifth deepest team in the NBA, in my humble opinion. And Kai Jones is one of the players that adds to the mix of that being the case. Gordon Hayward's still there. I'm not sure if they're going to look to trade him. But do you see what I'm saying? It just goes on and on and on with that young team. Problem is, Kai Jones has been, I think he's a part of USA or something. I think he, not USA, but of the basketball tournament that's going on right now. I think he was a part of that. I'm not really sure, but it showed there was some footage of him on IG Live speaking to the camera, listening to some music. I don't know what song that is in the background, but it's one of the songs I like a lot. Just randomly in a locker room. Looked like he'd either finished the workout or had been doing a run or something like that. But he was talking into the camera and he looked like he might have been high off a Percocet, some type of pill. It looked that way to me. It looked that way to a lot of people. Now, he does have a Caribbean accent. And if when listening closely, I was able to make out what he was saying. He was essentially saying he doesn't believe he's getting traded. Heck no, he ain't on no drugs. And then he's mentioned something about LeBron James or something like that being the GOAT. So I was able to understand a portion of it. But I've heard people who have that accent. And I also know that I've never heard him speak before this. So my thing is, maybe that's just his way. A lot of times people, they have different mindsets. So sometimes they're being, presented to the public, their vibes and their energy and their mannerisms. You just ain't never seen this person before. I've met people who have different types of personalities, different type of rhythms. Sometimes people have mental health issues and they're given medication for the mental health, and it reacts to them a certain way, whether it be because they've taken it or didn't take it. You see what I'm saying? Maybe this is one of those type of situations. But I read this morning, as I'm sitting here waiting for Apple Music to stop doing whatever nonsense it does to us Android users, I found that he was ultimately said to have blocked all of his Charlotte Hornets teammates on IG. That right there is alarming in a sense that says that he and the team aren't on the same page. Problem is, with what it is that's being said about him right now, what is going around, I'm concerned that no other teams will be interested in him. So it's not like, this is a situation where you simply say, okay, you just get traded to a team. I don't know that. I don't know that based on what we're seeing. That footage going around of him super sweating, the sweating aspect of it could have been from the workout. Sweating could also be a result of whatever drugs may have been in his system. I'm not alleging this man is on anything. All I'm saying is his behavior is that of somebody who looked like he was on something. And looking at the comment section, others felt the exact same way. Whatever the case may be, this is an alarming situation because this is a young basketball player with his entire career ahead of him. He is a player that is good for the modern era in the sense that he has length, speed, athleticism. This should be, I think, year 3 for him. Although the minutes haven't necessarily come, he's shown enough promise with the minutes given to know that he can make a jump at some point. And what his upside is, I'm not certain. But I know he's somebody I wouldn't mind having to add to my young team. Team like Milwaukee Bucks or somebody like that, I would love to pick him up if I'm GM of one of those squads. Maybe a team like the Golden State Warriors who could use a little more athleticism in the front court. A team like Cleveland Cavaliers, who could always use another wing to go along with what they have. I'm not sure he plays the wing, by the way. I'm just speaking in a sense that I know he's a long player who probably can do some things on the perimeter defensively if necessary. Point is, Kai Jones is somebody that I would be quick to pick up if I had a roster spot and a two-way opportunity. Maybe if I didn't want to give him a full-fledged contract, at least I want to continue his development with intentions of bringing him to the big leagues. If there is a drug problem, that can be dealt with, but it has to be addressed in a positive way. And I don't know that he's getting positive energy right now, coming from all the different angles of people making fun of him. I can tell you right now, a person who's dealing with whatever it is that he's dealing with does not need negativity coming from anywhere. And I'm not saying his teammates are giving him that negativity. I would not know anything about that. But the fact that he blocked everybody tells me that he's not on the same page with the people he's supposed to be playing ball with. Maybe not the new ownership as well, given the fact that Charlotte has Michael Jordan has sold the team, as we talked about yesterday, a little bit. I think at the end of the day, this is a little bit of a worry for me as a basketball fan who's been watching, young talent and it believes in young talent and moving forward, because I know we're in a culture right now where even though it's not as bad as it was maybe 6 years ago, 7 years ago, it's still very bad in terms of the drugs. And a lot of times athletes have access to these drugs. They have access to bad plugs, who may give them bad drugs. And I just think that it's important that when we listen to all the music talking about perks and, popping this, popping that, we need to understand that bleeds into the culture with athletes as well. And some of them in the off season, they may dabble in whatever they feel because they know they can't do it during the season. But if you have a problem, or if you becoming addicted, or if you can't discern when you shouldn't be turning on live, in that type of situation, you don't have the right people around you saying, yo, this ain't the right time to turn on live, wait till your high come down or what have you. This could be a situation that messes up his career for a long time. And this is a young player. I don't think Kai Jones is probably older than 22 years old. Just voicing concern, man. I think at the end of the day, this is somebody who stands out because his hair is blue, his mannerisms, he's a different guy. Like I said, he has a deep Caribbean accent, regardless if he's high or not, it seems. But, people making jokes about it. They saying he's speaking Perkinese. People saying he's on that perky stuff. He's perking out the game. And so whatever the case may be, prayers out to Kai Jones. I want to see you continue career. I don't think it's the end of the world that a dude was high off a perk on one day or two. Although it's not something I would try. It's not something I would suggest you try. I don't think it's something that should cost him his career in the offseason. If he's messing around with something he shouldn't, maybe they suspend him, this, that, and the third. But I don't want to see this guy get kicked out of the league or sent overseas or ultimately not given opportunities because he's labeled a drug addict or labeled somebody who can't make good decisions. Charlotte has enough of that, to be completely honest with you. With the Bridges situation and several other situations, Book Knight had some things last year in his personal life without bringing up specifics. He had gotten in a little trouble. You just don't need that going on in Charlotte, especially with new ownership. And them being the only team that really knows him that well, because that's the only team he's been on. That's even more so concerning in the sense that other franchises may just not know of him, but for what it is that they're seeing now, and maybe a few highlights and times that they may have seen him on the court in preseason and stuff like that. His name is big enough to garner enough attention to get another roster spot if his head is on straight. But if he's not going to be okay, then I'm worried his career will not continue. And him blocking his teammates, that could be a bad sign that his head's not where it needs to be. That could be a bad sign in a different direction to say that the team's done with him and they are going to trade him, as he was initially saying he did not believe he would be traded. And heck no, he wouldn't be on no drugs because he felt like it would get him traded. But at the same time, we cannot deny the mannerisms. We can't deny the speech slurring. We can't deny the jumping patterns of his thought process and jumping from that to LeBron somehow. Even with the Caribbean accent, it's very clear that something was awry. But he was in good spirits. It's not like he was in a bad mood or sitting there depressed pulling his hair out. He looked like he was happy. But the point is, homie looked like he was off a perk. And that's really what there is to say. So prayers out to him. Hopefully that moment doesn't define his entire career, even though I know that's how people do, especially if that's the first thing they see of you. And this is the first thing a lot of people are seeing of Kai Jones. Kai Jones can play some ball, man. He's a long player. I don't know if he's 7 feet, but he has some very long arms and extremely athletic. He can jump out the gym. If he's right, he's an NBA guy. That's basically what I'm here to say. I know that much. If he's right, he should be able to find his way into an NBA situation. And he's going to bring a lot of attention to you because he's likely going to color his hair the color of your team. So jumping around, stuff like that, Dennis Rodman energy, Jeremy Sohan does that as well. Of course, Marcus Smart wears his color and his hair, stuff like that. So it's not abnormal for guys to do that in any way. I don't look at that as a sign of his mental health or nothing like that. But at the end of the day, I just want to see the young player succeed. I mention him all the time when I talk about the Charlotte Hornets. He's one of the names that I mention a lot because I know he's back there, capable of affecting things with his lane and catching lobs and making easy buckets happen for his team, blocking shots, things of that nature. Pogo stick kind of guy. So that's what I want to say, man. I just want to see him succeed. I want to see all these young players succeed. I'm very intrigued by the Charlotte Hornets, as you can clearly see. They're one of the underrated young teams put together when we talk about young teams. Orlando, Houston, San Antonio, all the young teams that are out there, Detroit, of course. These are teams that you clearly know have young talent all up and down their roster. Charlotte is most definitely as deep as most of those named. It's just that simple. Kai is a big part of that. So, yeah, man, that's really my thought on that. Prayers out to Kai Jones. I'd hate to be another voice speaking on him being alleged to have been high in the moment if he was not indeed high. You know what I'm saying? I don't want that to be what I'm doing here, but at the same time, one has to voice concern once they see he's blocked all his teammates. Usually that's a sign the person's getting away from the team, or something went wrong with the team, or maybe some people said some things to him that he didn't agree with on the team or what have you. And for a guy who doesn't have real cachet around the league yet, who's still trying to build a name up from a small market, that's a bad thing. Now, if he played for the Lakers, or if he played for a team that had superstars next to him, that kind of thing, it would be a different story. Because then you'd be like, oh, okay, well, we know of this guy because he plays with Jokic or something like that. But the fact of the matter is that it's not what Charlotte has right now. We all know who LaMelo Ball is, but he's still building his way up as well. He's still trying to make himself into a household name as it pertains to the NBA as well. So at this point, you just don't want to see this. And the fact that the Charlotte Hornets do have such a deep team tells me he is expendable. Tells me his minutes are expendable. Tells me that they don't necessarily need him to continue to feel great about themselves being a great team. So this is not good, man. This is not good. Whatever the case may be, if I were him, I would listen to my advisors and stuff like that. He's a young person, so he may not know how to handle something like this. And I wouldn't expect for him to go on live again, because I feel like that was ill-advised at the time. It just was. You know what I mean? Just the way he was looking and sounding and acting. It wasn't received well. So, I'm happy that he was in a good mood. Again, a lot of times when people are going through whatever they're going through, it's a negativity attached to their spirit, and I didn't take that from him. But at the same time, it's like you got to protect your image, you got to protect your reputation, you got to protect what people see in regards to yourself. And if they think you off of something, or if they don't know of your personality to where you're a little different than the rest of us, you got to make sure that people understand what you're on. You got to make sure people see you more so that they know this is how he is all the time. So maybe that's the way to go for Kai. But yeah, I'm rooting for the young fella, man. I don't hold this against him. He ain't the only person who's taking a perk in the NBA. I'm sure he ain't the only one. I've seen a couple of them dudes, and I'm not going to mention who they are, but there's a couple of them during this offseason that I've seen that I know they was high, and I know it wasn't weed. I will not snitch because I don't think everybody picked up what I picked up on, but there are others. And it's the offseason, man. People do what they do. I'll just tell you that we got to be careful about what you put in your body, though. Not everything is meant to keep you alive. Not everything is meant to get you high. Some of the stuff is meant to get you gone. And we got to expect it. We got to respect that, and we got to expect that when you look to pop whatever you're going to pop. So, it's not as simple as culture. The guys think they're very healthy, you know what I mean? They know they're athletes. They take care of their bodies for the most part. They probably think their body can react well to that medication. I'm telling you, there's no guarantee that you even going to wake up when you go to sleep after taking certain stuff. So we got to value the one life we have, man. If we are going to dabble in drugs, make damn sure you know what your body can handle. Talk to your doctors, man. Don't be afraid to talk to your doctors about what it is that your body can handle. I think that's not prevalent in our community. We just want to pop, and we trust our immune system, we trust our bodies, we think we athletic or what have you. But you don't know what doesn't vibe with your DNA. You don't know until it's too late for a lot of people. And we're seeing too many people dying off these damn drugs. I'm not against you trying to get your mind right. I'm not against you trying to, suppress whatever pain may be in your heart. I ain't against 20-year-olds trying to figure out what feels good for them. Because I was once 20-something, and I drank, smoked weed. I never tried drugs, but it wasn't my choice. It wasn't what I decided. If I would have decided, I'd have stood by the decision. Point is, it's not something I'm going to look at him and say, yo, he's a bad guy, he needs to be ostracized from the league. Absolutely not. Now, if he needs rehab, he will need rehab. I don't know that, you know what I'm saying? I'm not even alleging that might be the case. I'm just saying, if he pops something, let's not act like he shot someone. You feel me? It's not like that. It's a positive young man that wants to continue his career, so that's what we should be rooting for. So that's pretty much what I got to say. My name is BDO44. I thank you all for watching. I'm out.